The Linn-Mar Board of Directors meeting will be called to order at 5 p.m. in the boardroom of the Linn-Mar, the Learning Resource Center. Can you please take roll to determine a quorum?
Buckholz.
Here.
Morey.
Here.
Nelson.
Here.
Rollinger.
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Wall.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Way to squeak it.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Clark and a second by Sandra. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. Before I welcome the marching band in, we do want to add one additional recognition this evening. A very good friend, an advocate of public education, and a good friend of many of us in the room in the district passed away yesterday. So we would like to take a moment and recognize the contributions and memory of Superintendent Noreen Bush from the Cedar Rapids School District. So I'm just going to ask everyone to hold a moment of silence for Noreen. Our thoughts will continue to be with her family and her colleagues. Moving on, we have a special recognition this evening of the Linn-Mar High School Marching Band, so I'll turn it over to Kim.
Thank you. We didn't bring all 230.
Really? Come on.
Got a great representation here tonight, though. So before you, we have parts of the 230-member Marching Lions under the direction of Dan Terrell, Aaron Nuss, and Jen Teedy. Student leaders for the 2022 season include drum majors Kayla Affolter, sorry if I mispronounced your name, Maddie Biederman, Ryan Coffrin, and Timothy Laubach. And then there are 36 other additional students that serve the group as members of the leadership team, some of which are standing before you. As you well know, we had a few obstacles this year early in the season with the delay of the field turf installation at the stadium. They made do with the practice field that was behind the aquatic center, renting temporary lighting for their evening rehearsals and getting creative with different storage options. Linn-Mar's O&M team did an outstanding job for us in keeping the field in great condition. They kept the field markings painted and the grass cut short week after week. This temporary home wasn't ideal, but the group made no excuses, and they were much more thankful for our beautiful stadium when they were able to move back in. The Marching Lions competitive season yielded the most successful results in school history, despite those obstacles. Their show was entitled City of Lights and centered around the city of Paris. With this show, the group won first place honors in Class 4A at Bands Across the Prairie and the 5 Seasons Marching Band Invitations, where they earned a score of 92.2 out of 100, which is one of the highest total scores in program history. The Marching Lions earned a Superior Division I rating at the Iowa High School Music Association State Marching Band Festival, and I would note that this is their 40th Division I ranking in a row. The group earned 5th place, 4th out of Iowa schools in their class at the Valley Fest Showdown in West Des Moines. This is one of the premier marching band festivals in the state, and the Color Guard also earned top honors as Most Outstanding Color Guard. Additional non-competitive performances for these Marching Lions included 4 home football games, the Linn-Mar Homecoming Parade, and the Metro Marching Band Classic, and the Band Extravaganza. They also had an exhibition performance at the very successful Linn-Mar Marching Band Festival, which we hosted, and we had an excellent turnout that day. The Marching Lions are fortunate to have a tremendous team of designers and additional instructors, as well as incredible amount of support from parent volunteers. So I would like to, as a part of the board as well, congratulate the Linn-Mar Marching Lions on a fantastic season.
Turn around.
And then, as a member of the high school team, I'd like to thank the board for giving us the opportunity to showcase some of our students at each board meeting. It means a lot to us too, to be able to come and share all their talents with you, so.
Jennifer, move out there.
Thank
so
you.
that you can be on the camera.
She knows better. She sneaks
right.
behind.
Congratulations, all of you.
Congratulations.
That's always fun. All right. We will move on to audience communication this evening. At this time, I will call up those who have signed in the order that they have signed up to speak. The board will receive and acknowledge comments, but will not engage in a dialogue with the speaker because of the set agenda for this meeting. Please remember, remarks are limited to 3 minutes per speaker and should be shared in a respectful manner. First up, Sherry Crandall.
Good evening, everyone. I am here to speak in favor of the board approving early separation. As a board, I know that you are tasked with making tough decisions, and I hope you realize the positive financial impact early separation can have on the district, saving tens of thousands of dollars. Please realize how hard teachers work in general, but especially in recent years with the added stress of COVID and the criticism and lack of support from many different groups. Over my 35 years of teaching and coaching, I have spent many extra hours devoted to helping the students, staff, and families of Linn-Mar. Your vote tonight will show teachers how much you support us and value our hard work and dedication. The hard thing about the way the board meetings are set up is that I'm tasked with speaking to you before you've even been given Shannon's recommendation or the supporting evidence. But I am hoping that tonight you will approve early separation and know that your decision fiscally and emotionally impacts your staff. Thank you for your consideration.
E. Westbrook.
Hello, I am here to reiterate what Sherry Crandall said, that I would appreciate you considering the early separation package, as it does financially benefit the school district, and I think it would be remiss to not mention that I think it is an important retention tool too, and with the state of education today, you want teachers to hang around as long as they can. So I've been here, I think, 37, going on 38 years, and I think I'm number one on the seniority list. I wish I could say I'm number one, but I don't really know. It just means I'm old, but thank you for your consideration.
Hancock.
Hello. Christian nationalism. The secular humanist left is trying to define Christian nationalism as Christians merging religion with politics to force Judeo-Christian religion into law. But it is the left that is actually forcing their religion into law. And the government school system is one example. It is controlled by the secular humanists who believe such things as young children must choose their gender, and that homosexuality is a normal, acceptable, proper behavior to be encouraged. And here at Linn-Mar, you were not satisfied with just believing that. You had to pass the transgender policy, forcing all faculty and students to affirm your belief or be charged with promoting hate, which is punishable by law. You have forced your secular humanist religion into law. Meanwhile, the left claims we are forcing our religion on you. No. We understand that the Great Commission only commands that we teach the Word of God. It does not mandate that we must force you to affirm it. However, most Christians today have been taught that the Great Commission stops at the schoolhouse doors. But our founding fathers knew it did not. And for over 200 years, our national leaders promoted the Word of God in public schools until the 1960s, when God and the Bible were removed from schools. And now, 3 generations later, most Christians have been taught that God does not even belong in the civil arena, and certainly not in politics or public schools. But a few of us know this is a lie and are speaking out, and people are listening. Christian nationalists do not want to force a religion into government. We are simply Christians who believe in our nation, and we actually understand that the First Amendment requires that government can never tell you what you must think or believe. But we do want to return to teaching the Bible in government schools. Not the Judeo-Christian religion, but the content of the Bible. And we do not demand that you affirm those values like you demand that we affirm yours. You see, we believe that when a child hears both the secular humanist and the biblical worldview in public schools, most will choose the biblical worldview. And they did for over 200 years. And if we are to continue as a free and prosperous nation for another 200 years, we must return to teaching biblical values in public schools. Thank you, and more to come.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you very much for the community conversations that we had. I really enjoyed that time together, to get to know you, to sit with you, to see you up close, to listen even to some of the things you had to say, and I did want to thank you very, very much for that. I know some of you also had to miss out on your own children's or grandchildren opportunities that they had that evening, so that takes a lot of commitment on your part to let that go and come be with us and hear us and listen to us. And I just really wanted you to know I enjoyed that time together. So thank you for doing that. One more thing before I sit down, I just hope you just will consider to continually actively look again at the policy of 50413. In my heart, I do believe that there are other options and there are better ways. And like Kurt was saying, we just can't take God totally out of what we are, out of our school system. If we do, it will not get better. Just read a little bit of it and put that into some of the policies. And I really, truly think that we will continue to shine as a district. So thank you.
Phones.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are having a nice evening. The reason I'm here tonight is I had a few people reach out to me back in September and kind of ask my opinion about some comments that got made at the end of during a school board meeting at the end of August that characterized Air Force basic training and used it to try and push a theocratic agenda suggesting there's no such thing as really state separation from religion. Well, I'm here to tell you that those characterizations were completely false. The Air Force, just like every other branch of the military, teaches 5 things: discipline, attention to detail, combat-ready physical fitness, military customs and courtesies, and teamwork. That's it. They teach you that the sum is greater than the parts. Now, in the Air Force, for those airmen, typically 1 or 2% receive an award called an honor graduate because they demonstrated excellence above and beyond just what those core values were. This is kind of what that certificate looks like. This one's mine. I was one of 2 airmen, Flight 356, on May of 1984 to award that. Now, I say that not because I want to burnish my resume. I say that to let you know that, yeah, I actually know what I'm talking about. The fundamental principle upon which this nation is founded is not just democracy, but it is the acceptance of every single individual, regardless of who they are, and respect for every single individual, regardless of what they believe. That's something that needs to continue to exist. It's something that needs to continue to be supported. You guys are doing an outstanding job keeping that and supporting that view, and I hope that you'll continue to do so. Thank you all very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, that ends audience communication for this evening. Thank you to everyone who came and participated. We will move on to informational reports, and first up, we'll welcome Bobby Kelly from the Aquatic Center.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for having me here to talk about the programs that we run at the Aquatic Center. It has been 9 years since the Aquatic Center first opened, and just giving you an update on what we do and the return of aquatics for the district after we have moved on from some of the COVID restrictions that we had. First of all the programs at the Aquatic Center are designed around the student curriculums. We have really two types of programs that run there. We have the academic aquatic programs, and these are the programs that run through the school structure. We have aquatic experiences, which I'll detail a little bit more later. We have adaptive swim classes that I'll talk about. We have the high school PE classes that utilize the facility. We have middle school swim teams and high school swim teams that all use the Aquatic Center. But beyond that, we also do additional aquatic program through the Fund 65. And these are all the self-funded programs where students who participate actually contribute and pay the fees that run those programs. So they're self-generated, self-funded programs. But those are programs that happen outside the times that we're doing the academic aquatic programs. They include the swim lessons, a district-run swim team, goes by LMST, Linn-Mar Swim Team, and then we also have diving lessons for intermediate, middle, and high school students. With the academic programming, we do aquatic experiences is what takes up a majority of our time. And I'll go over the times later, but really we run it for the aquatic experiences for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and we began 5th grades last year. Before COVID, we weren't doing those with 5th grades in this manner, but because we had a group of students in the 3rd and 4th grades that missed so much swimming through their academic process of the 2 years where we weren't able to teach lessons, we included it the 5th grades last year, and we'll continue to include them this year. But we ran, the way I have it structured, and I set up a calendar of all the programs. 4th grades come during the fall months, 2nd grades come during the winter months, 3rd grades come during the spring months, and the last 6 days of the school year is 5th grades. I rotate in the 9-10 PE blocks, use the pool for an hour and a half for 4 different block times, and they're the 4th week of every quarter that I rotate this group in. We have 4 weeks of adaptive PE classes led by Ginger Halverson, and she does 2 weeks with the high school adaptive classes in December. Those are the last 2 weeks in December before we get to the holiday breaks, and then we go 2 weeks of elementary, intermediate, and middle school PE classes in early April, late March. And we try to time that where we're hitting it when we're doing the Iowa testing for the elementary schools. We also have an aquafit class that's been started. Stephanie Haskins is the teacher there this year. And those PE class for the 11 and 12, that's a skinny, so it's only a 1-period class. We do an early bird, and they utilize the facility for 4th block. Moving on. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade aquatic experiences, like I said, is the item that takes up most of our time. These students are there, and what I do is I book a week for each elementary school. The principals then work a time that they can work their schools into it, whether they have 3 classrooms, 4 classrooms, or 5 classrooms. We rotate them in 1 classroom at a time. This week we have no box 4th grades. And they're swimming from 9:05 to about 11:45 to get their 4 classrooms in. And they're in the water anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes at a time. We have the objectives of teaching these. We teach aquatic safety. We go over the safety rules. I have 6 safety rules. We spend time trying to press upon the students the important that swimming can be fun, but at the same time, you always have to think about your safety. We look to actually work with the students in the water, teaching their swimming skills. We use the Swim America Lessons platform, which I'll go over a little bit later. But really, if you want to be safe in water, learning to swim is a big component of being safe in water. And the most important thing is we want each student to leave with a positive image about swimming. We have a student coming next week, and I've had the classroom teacher already contact me. The student is very, very nervous, and so the first couple days, we don't want it to be traumatizing for the students. No one has to swim, so we're going to plan on the first couple days, they get to watch and kind of learn, maybe put their feet in the water, but we will gradually, hopefully, get them to build confidence and want to get in the water. We don't force swimming on anyone. We try to help them learn how to swim in a very positive manner. With the 5th grades, we do 3 days dedicated to each of the 5th grades, each of the intermediate schools, and they schedule times in a 90-minute block, and they do it by their neighborhoods or however they set it up, and we get about 80 to 100 students at a time. It is massive. We go from teaching 20 to 28 students at a time to teaching almost 100 students at a time. Shannon had the chance to come over and watch that last year. We intentionally put that the last 6 days of the school year. 2 reasons. One, it's good to give those guys that time right before they get to the summer. But the second reason I do that is by then I have many of the college students that are coming back looking for employment in town, and they're happy to get started early, and so I employ the college students that are coming back to teach in the summer to start teaching a little bit early in May. And once again, we do teach Swim America lessons during these 3 days. This isn't just come and play and splash in the pool. These are days where we're teaching the curriculum of Swim America. With the Swim America lessons, that is the platform we use. I really like the Swim America much more than I like some of the other platforms used to teach swimming. There are 10 stations where we teach specific skills and techniques, where the specific skills and techniques are taught. In that, these lessons are very goal-directed. You have specific goals at each station that the swimmers must be able to do before we advance them to the next station. With the Swim America, it is truly a standards-based grading learning platform. And Shannon was the one that really pointed this out to me when he came over and watched it. But students advance from station to station as they learn each station's advancement goals. So as soon as they advance, whether it's the first day they're there or the 5th day they're there, right in the middle of class, if they show that they can do that advancement skill, they advance. And they celebrate by ringing our advancement bell. And here's some pictures of the students ringing the advancement bell. The first picture over on your left is a student who advanced during the summer classes. And then the next 2 are students who advanced during last week's Friday's class. And I had the homeroom teacher send me the pictures. And the individual over on your right is an individual that actually advanced from station 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5, all in the 35-minute period. Once he learned how to get his body balance, he was able to go right through all the way up to station 5 in one classroom. An observation, and I always talk about this with the employees, students advance. We do not pass students from station to station. They advance from station to station. And because they do not pass, the opposite of pass is fail. So because we never pass students, we have students that they never fail. They just learn. And so students continue to learn whether they remain in their current station or whether they move to the next station. We're always presenting new material to them, and there's constant learning going on. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the impact of COVID restriction when it's coming to learning to swim. And it really is pretty dramatic. In spring of 2020 and summer of 2020, the Linn-Mar Aquatic Center shut down. We didn't have lessons, we didn't have swim teams, and most of your public outdoor pools did not even open that summer. There was no opportunity to swim, no opportunity to learn how to swim in the summer of 2020. In the 2020-2021 school year, the Linn-Mar Aquatic Center did reopen. We had our swim teams going, middle school and high school, and the Linn-Mar swim team going, but we also had the high school PE classes going in their spots. However, because of the mask mandate, we weren't able to teach lessons with the students coming over. So we did not have the elementary or intermediate school aquatic academic programming. During the summer of '21, most outdoor pools reopened, and we also resumed swimming lessons at the Aquatic Center. That would be the Fun 65 swimming lessons where students can purchase those lessons and be a part of it. And I would like to say that we do offer multiple tiered price levels. We have lessons for students of Linn-Mar, they get discounts. We have lessons for the outside community that can be a part of the lessons, but they pay a premium to take lessons at Linn-Mar. And the premium that we receive from those lessons offsets the reduced rate that we charge students from Linn-Mar who receive free and reduced lunches. So those students can receive a much cheaper lesson because of the premium that we have the out-of-district students pay. In the fall of 2021, we continued the Aquatic Center's use. However, we still had the mask mandate for elementary and intermediate students. We went right up to that, I think it was Thursday or Friday, that we came back with that and for the elementary kids. And Westfield was scheduled to start the following Monday, and we pulled it. However, in January of '22, full academic aquatic programming resumed at the Aquatic Center when we lifted the mask mandate for the elementary and intermediate students. We did a schedule for that. We were able to bring in the fourth grades for 4 days during January, February, the third grade for 5 days during March, April, and May. And we had adaptive swimming for the elementary, intermediate, middle school students in early April. And we did the fifth graders last year for the first time at the end of the school year. What we weren't able to get in is our second graders. But our second graders will get to come this winter and also return, will get to come this spring as third graders and next year as fourth graders. So they still will have 10 days of lessons in their elementary program. Here's a slide, and I know there's a lot of information on here, but you can kind of see the decrease in fourth grades. Spring 2018-19 was when I last presented to the board, and you can see the advancements. For example, completing Station 4 is that's kind of the huge station to complete. Because when you complete Station 4 in our program, you move from teaching lessons and learning lessons in the shallow end to be able to go to the deep end, and now you're swimming in the 12-foot water, gaining confidence in water that's over your head. And so completing Station 4 is a big benchmark that I'd like to see students get to. You can see in 2018-19, we were able to get 84% of the fourth graders to Station 5. However, in the spring of '22, only 60% of it. 60% of the fourth graders got there. The other interesting thing that I see here is that we had a 4% decrease on the students who completed Station 2, and it goes all the way up to a 67% decrease in the students that were able to complete Station 7. So the higher the station, the greater the percentage of decrease. And this is reflective not only at Linn-Mar, this is reflected across the United States in learning to swim. I'm the general chair for Iowa Swimming, which is the competitive branch of USA Swimming for the state of Iowa. And I can tell you we've had to lower our qualifying times for our championship meets 2 times, and we still haven't got it so that we're getting the number of qualifiers equal to what was happening before COVID happened. So this is very symbolic to the state. It's very symbolic to what you see in the United States when it comes to learning to swim. Here is the review. I presented this slide in 2019, I think, when I came last year. And I'd like you to see, I'm going to go to that, and I think I can use the mouse. There we are. You can see the nice little pyramid as it goes up. And I have the third grades are your blue, the fourth grades are the red, and you can see how it's a nice little pyramid up all the way across. Here's where we hit over that 80% mark with the fourth graders. And you can really see that teaching as a second grader, that early intervention, as Shannon and I were talking about on Friday, really shows in this slide how it gives you that boost. If I move to the next slide, once again, your third graders are blue because we didn't have the yellow second graders last year, but we introduced the fifth graders. And what I'll show you is that the third graders actually do a better job than fourth grade in stations 1, 2, and 3. What does that tell me? That tells me what most people know. If you can teach someone to swim earlier, in many ways it's easier to teach them than as they get older. It's very difficult to teach an adult to swim who's never swam before. And that slide right there tells you that starting students in fourth grade, which is what we were doing last year, is harder than teaching them in third grade in many ways. It is not until you get to Station 5 that you finally, or 4, that you finally see it reversed like we did before. However, you will see our fifth grade, because we brought them in, they were able to swim some as second graders, but the fifth graders were able to get over 70% last year, moving on from station 4 to station 5. So those 5 days we added, or 6 days we added at the end of the year was huge for those students who were in fifth grade. But that's just results from what we did last year. Okay. With the Fund 65 aquatic programming, I can report that we had 2,069 students participate with the swimming lessons that we run outside of the school days. Most of those are in the summer. During the summer, we teach lessons for about 7 hours a day, starting at 9 a.m., and it goes all the way up until 5:30 in the evening. Those lessons can be beginner lessons, preschool lessons, to advanced lessons. During the middle of the day, we do adaptive lessons. That requires special time because you really need to have limited pool use during adaptive lessons. Lots of distractions when you go to teach adaptive kids. With the Linn-Mar swim team, that's your youth swim team, we have 245 students participate during the last 12 months. I can tell you that we're pushing 200 already, which is amazing. This fall, we already have that many because we pick up students all the way through the year. If I was to come back in next year, I would expect that number to be much, much greater. We are pushing the limits on what we can do with the pool on the outside time. And we also ran the diving. The diving was a little bit smaller than it had been in the past. With the other thing about doing the aquatic programming is, as a district, we employ over 125. Originally, when I put this, I put down 90. And I'm like, I don't want to falsify numbers. So I went and looked at my Time Clock Plus manager check-in, and it lists all of your employees. And officially, we employ 129 individuals to teach swimming lessons and help with the swim teams and the diving group that we had last year, which is just an amazing number of individuals that work and teach through the Fund 69 aquatic programming. And I did put this up here. How do you schedule 100? I don't know if I can get it to go or not. I can't, but that's okay. How do you get it to go? And I did have the link to the schedule. And the one thing we do with the programming in the aquatic center is we don't mandate that all the students work every day. We let them, basically what I do is I send out an email to them. From these days, June 27th, July 1st, I need instructors from 9 to noon, I need instructors from noon to 3, and I need instructors from 3 to 5:30. Please send me the dates and times that you're available to work, and then I create a schedule. And I had that schedule here. I wonder if I can get to it. Highlighter, okay. Control, it's not gonna go. But anyway, the next thing I had is the observation on this, and some of you know that because your students, your students at home end up working at the aquatic center. Most of the employees we hire come right out of Linn-Mar School District's aquatic center programs. You might wonder, I think the city of Cedar Rapids, I was talking to their Parks and Rec aquatic coordinator over the weekend, they employed around 175 to 180 individuals, part-time individuals, to work their programs this summer. That's at 6 facilities. At our one facility, we have 125. And you know the struggle to get employees right now. And people ask, well, how do you get 125? And it's actually, what I do is I email all the parents who have had students reach the advanced level of our aquatic programming that are 14 and 15. Parents get an email in spring that says, hey, if your student would like to work at the aquatic center, here's the programs we have. I love to hire people that have gone through the system because they already know it. And so then the parents talk to their students, and their students then apply. And we hire many of our students, our 8th and 9th graders, this is their first job. And I've had parents come to me and talk to me about the opportunity to work, and that's just another benefit we have from the aquatic center, being the student's first job. And that flexibility that we do where students tell me when they're available, we're able to get students who are heavily involved, whether it's sports programs in the summer or whether it's band or they got vacations, trips, they can work around it because of the way we do the staffing. So that's a little of what we do at the aquatic center. I'll take questions at this time. Okay?
You mentioned
that you offset the cost for students that participate in the free and reduced lunch program. Is that a prorated, like all the way from free up to full cost, or does everybody pay something, or how does that work?
Free and reduced lunch receive 85% off of the public rate of the non-Linn-Mar student.
Okay.
So it's a straight formula in the program.
Okay.
And they would contact me and I set it up.
Do we access any grant funding to be able to offer up to free, or have we ever considered, do you know?
I have not pursued that.
Okay. And then do employees need to be certified lifeguards or have gotten through all of the programs and all the levels in order to
take swimming lessons, when they come in, we hire them and we train them to teach swimming lessons. To be a
Okay.
lifeguard, you have to be 15. But also to be a lifeguard, you have to be on the pool deck. And our instructors are in the water teaching for the most part.
Okay.
So what we do is we hire a mix of lifeguards, swim instructors. I have site supervisors that oversee and work with the instructors who are teaching. It's a complex system because there's a lot of shadowing going on. They work with experienced teachers first before they ever teach on their own. And I was very concerned returning to our lessons because I have to have returning staff so that the new staff can follow their lead. And we have a lot of turnover with our lessons, but one thing we talk about is the ability to teach consistently within the program. And we have videos that they go through. We have the site supervisors that stand over the students, and they really teach the students how to become employees and teach the Swim America system the way we teach them.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the fifth graders are going to participate again this year.
Yes.
Is it your intent to continue with fifth grade after this, even though this is the 2-year catch-up? Are we going to keep going with fifth grade next year?
The answer to that is I'm sure we'll look at the data on where students have progressed to, and we'll make an assessment based on that.
Okay.
I'm not sure is the answer, but we want to work to get the students up to the standards that we had before COVID, and we'll keep working and chugging to get there.
Trying to follow along in the PowerPoint. If the fifth grade don't participate, then we kind of miss out before, because they don't go back to going for PE until middle school, right?
The fifth grade and sixth grade do not, they're the two grades that do not come to the aquatic center if we don't have them. 7th and 8th have the opportunity to come through middle school swimming. 9th through 12th have both high school swim teams and PE classes there. And then we have swimming from 2nd through 4th in aquatic experiences. We do not have preschool, kindergarten, or first grade come in. But if we did not do something with the intermediate, yes, you're correct. I'd like to see a chance to have the 6th graders come in, so maybe we can get our 5th grade caught up to the point where we could also offer maybe a day or two with 6th grades, but that's really up to Dan and Chad and Nathan to work with me to decide what we want to do.
Longer school year to fit them all in.
Well, my son's in 4th grade, and it's maybe his favorite week of the year. So they've already done it this year, and he's very sad that it's over. But I think it's phenomenal what you're doing, and I think this program is, your results speak for themselves, so I don't have any other questions. That's just great.
I've been asked if there's a chance to bring kindergarten and first graders in. And my reply to that is when we go to 2nd grade, the time to change students, to get them into swimsuits and out of swimsuits and get the wet socks on the feet and tie the shoes and everything that it takes, it's so much longer than 4th grade and 5th grade. And even the teachers, when the teachers who have asked me this, after I go through that explanation, they go, I agree.
Oh, I wasn't even going to ask about kindergarten and first grade because I remember, and one is hard enough. I can't imagine, 22 of them all at once. So, anyone else have questions?
Board members, you got to see this in person, I think it was last spring, if I remember correctly. But to see the data to match it and to see kind of the method behind I say madness, but that's just the same because when you go watch it, it's very organized and very much a progression. And Bobby mentioned the time I was there with 5th graders with over 100 kids in there, and it was completely structured and enjoyable for the kids, but it was definitely not just splash around time. It was instruction based, and that is one of the beauties of this program is every time every student comes through by 4th or 5th grade, we want them to be that level of a swimmer that at least they are safe around water. Whether they become a competitive swimmer or not, that's a whole different story, but at least they can be, when they leave us, they'll be safe, and that will not be an issue for us too. So, but I think I cut your question off, Rachel.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think this is an incredible program. My family's been blessed by it, and I know that thousands of others have as well. You and I have talked before about issues of equity within this program, and I know you've done a lot of work for this. I just wondered if you could speak just for a minute on how you have brought that not only into just the swimming lessons, but things like swim team, things like diving as well.
In what respect?
Making sure that students can participate regardless of their financial
All of the
means.
Fund 65 programming, there's a reduced rate. We have fees that students pay, the out-of-district fees, and the reduced fees for all students of Linn-Mar who receive those free and reduced lunches. We're probably one of the larger swim teams in Iowa when it comes to offering programs for students who have free and reduced lunches. We have swimmers who have graduated from our program who have gone on and swam Division I, Division II, and Division III, who only did that because we were able to offer those programs all the way up, from learn to swim through, I mean, we start with preschool lessons in the summer. That's when the parents are there to change them. And it goes all the way up to LMST and the seniors who graduate and they go on to college. We've had swimmers go on to represent their clubs, and we had a swimmer representing Linn-Mar at the 2020, which was really 2021, Olympic trials. And we had swimmer at 2016 Olympic trials too from Linn-Mar. So we're able to really offer the full programming, but we do have students that go all the way through the program that swim all levels of college that would not have had that chance if we weren't offering the reduced fees. So it is quite impressive. And we'll provide suits if we need them. I have parents who've donated suits, and we really make sure that every child, if they want to participate, has the chance to participate who's a Linn-Mar student. We do not extend that out to outside Linn-Mar, though. That is Linn-Mar.
Well, thank you for all you do with this program, because you do an incredible job. You really do.
One thing I want to just add to that, I'm involved in a community pool project right now, and some of the data that we've been seeing around the increased drownings over the past few years since COVID, and the percentage of kids that don't have the opportunity in our community to be able to take swimming lessons and have never set foot in a public pool before is astounding to many people. And so I'm just so blown away by our program, and I feel so fortunate that the kids in our district all have the opportunity, and that this really levels the playing field and gives every child the opportunity to learn how to stay safe in the water. And so I just want to say thank you for giving every child in our district the opportunity to learn those critical life skills that could truly save their life someday. So thank you.
Thank you. I enjoy the job. It's an awesome job. So thank you for letting me come here and teach. It truly is a job I look forward to. One other note on this, and I know I probably chewed up my time, but I just wanted to say that our facility, when we built it, we were really a leader. We did something that other districts in Iowa hadn't done before, and I'm sure there were a lot of questions coming to board members. Why are we doing this? Since we have built this pool, there's been at least 2, if not 3 pools built by school districts that are almost identical to the building we have. The vision that Dr. Mulholland had with the board's leadership that came together in 2012 and built this facility, it was just impressive. If this building, and I know that when Dr. Mulholland initiated and opened the pool in 2013, she talked about how there was a plan to build a pool, attach it to high school, and it'd be a much smaller facility and this and that. We could not have done these programs in that type of facility. Shannon talked about the 5th graders coming over. We used every square foot of the pool, the deck, the locker room, everything in that building going on during those times. Over 60% of the hours used in that pool is teaching kids to swim. It is a lessons pool first, competitive swimming and diving comes second. And that really is what this facility has become. It's great to come to work each day, to work with these kids. I had a student just 2 weeks ago. I was in the water teaching, Yes, we're short-staffed, so I jump in and teach whenever I need to. And he looked at me and he goes, "Thank you for teaching lessons." He goes, "My parents can't afford for me to take lessons in the summer, and it's so nice to be able to come here and learn." And that really hit me hard when he said that, because I was like, oh, we provide the suits for them when they arrive. We help them. We got towels for them to dry off with at the end of the class. We provided the possibility that this child had the chance to learn to swim. And, you know, he wasn't in Station 5. He was Station 1 learning to blow bubbles. But by the time the week was over, he was all the way over to Station 3. And he got to ring the bell twice, so there was success.
Two quick comments, Bobby. We appreciate your efforts, but back to your thoughts about when we built the facility. We were in talks in the community at that time trying to put a community pool together with a variety of different people, albeit Kirkwood, all of that. So there was a lot of blind faith there when Katie went out on the limb to do that, or Dr. Mulholland, sorry, went out on the limb to do that. So that, like you said, that's huge, and you've taken it to the next level. And then the second item is I was pleasantly surprised. You're assuming this 125 people are all students. The maturity and the number of people that were working the day we were there were all ages of people, all the way up into their 60s and 70s, I believe. And that's huge. That's just a dream and a passion that they have to come in and do that as well, and that has to help to the success too. So.
Yeah, I couldn't do it without the seniors that come in and teach after post-retirement. We've had Dr. Ironside on for 3 or 4 years teaching once he retired from the district. So yeah, those retired teachers, when they're ready to get early retirement,
I need somebody has a pool in the room.
They just have to be off for 6 months of diapers and then they come back.
Okay.
I think we call that first things first. But really, honestly, it's a wonderful program. When we watched everyone, all the students, they were all smiles and excited, and you know, we could see that in the people who were teaching them also. And I love the idea of the flexibility of when they work. I mean, that makes all the difference in the world. And like you said, it can be their first job, and it's something that is a positive for them. So thank you all the way around. Thanks for all you do.
Yes, thank you. It's an amazing program. So our next topic is our IASB conference. It's coming up in less than a month, if you can believe that. So this isn't a big conversation this evening. We just wanted to kind of touch base on who's going, and are you going both Wednesday and Thursday, or just Thursday, just so we all have an idea. Melissa, we know you're going to Korea. It'll be amazing for you. We will miss you.
Thank you.
But I think everyone else is planning to attend, correct?
Schedule's in place, yeah. That'll help you.
Which is awesome.
Thanks, Barry. Okay, yeah, so we'll have everyone's schedule. We all know where everyone's kind of going to be. I did want to confirm that the delegate assembly on Wednesday, if there is someone that wants to come with me, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know. We can only have one official representative, but if someone wants to come and just listen to the process, just let me know.
Is that session recorded by chance? Do you know?
I don't believe it is.
Okay.
I've never.
I would love to learn about that process, but I can't come back for it, sorry.
I did start playing with the Sketch app, so if you've not turned that on, I know we got this fun thing in the mail, and I think it's on the back or somewhere in here. The app is up and running, and you can tag everything. It'll create your schedule for you on your phone, so you don't have to keep going. But yeah, we just wanted to kind of share where everyone, who all was coming, answer any questions if anyone had any questions, or just kind of get everyone on the same page, because it's in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Reminder also, the UEN annual meeting dinner, if you have not RSVP'd back to that yet, please let us know if you plan to attend that. Well, we don't have to, but it's nice to give them a pretty good estimate of what we're looking at for participation that night. So, then Do you mind if I keep going, Britt,
Yeah,
a little
go
bit?
for it.
On, I think everybody's aware, as part of the unique experience this year for the ISB conference, we have our orchestra will be performing. I think we have sat there in past ISB conferences and thought, man, these kids from other districts are fantastic, but I think we could maybe equal that or maybe even outdo that. Not that it's a competition, but I thought it'd be a great opportunity. So
okay.
we mentioned that after last year's session, and then when the all call came out for requests for interested schools for that, we reached out to our music department, and Josh and Thad said they would be glad to put a application together to send in as well. So we have Josh Resnickow and Thad Sentman here tonight from our high school orchestra, just to give a quick update kind of what they're thinking of and give you kind of a sneak peek of what you'll actually see that morning when they help kick off our actual conference for the entire state of Iowa as well. So
We'll just say I was really excited when we got the conference packet in the mail, and I was sitting on my couch and I'm flipping through it, and here we are. Here's our students, and I just got really excited. So
That's cool. I'd like to.
we can get you a copy.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your time here and allowing us just to give you a little bit of a sneak peek or infomercial on what we're going to be performing and who in terms of our students. Like Shannon mentioned, he kind of sent an email to us and encouraging some of us within the department last spring to apply for it. And we thought it would be a great idea to take that opportunity to apply and maybe even have the opportunity to perform with our amazing students in front of all these decision makers within the state. So we put together a video according to the guidelines of the conference, and then of our students performing at a couple of different festivals, and also performing the national anthem, which is a part of the proceedings, and then sent that in, and then just hoped and waited for a phone call in the middle of the summer, and I got the phone call. Actually, I was in the middle of a lesson, and we're taking care of something, and I saw that it said Des Moines. I'm like, well, I better pick this up. And I didn't want to let that go to voicemail. And the person was really excited to have us do this. And when I was on the phone call with the organizer there, I just said, you know, I think we did this gig a number of years ago. And I brought a middle school group. I just couldn't remember the year of it. And she looked it up. Yeah, it was back in 2002. I brought Excelsior and Oak Ridge Middle School to this. So this will be 20 years to the day that I was able to bring a group back to this. So I guess I'm getting a little older too, maybe. So we're really very excited to be able to do this, and really thank Mr. Bisgard for giving us the opportunity and the blessing to go and the idea to be able to do this. Some of the little sneak peek on this, we're going to be performing the Star Spangled Banner as part of the proceedings there. And then we were given a very small set amount of time. Our kids can play a very long time, as some of you know. They can play 30, 45 minutes or so. They can put on a whole show, and I was hoping for that. They originally gave us 14 minutes to do the show, and that's from when we start on stage to when we have to get off. And I kind of mentioned to him, and was like, can we get a little longer, and explain why? And then the decision maker came back and said, yep, you get 15 minutes.
Take it.
I negotiated an extra 60 seconds. Our students were kind of puzzled and excited by that, but we will take any amount of seconds we can get. So we will play the Star Spangled Banner, then we will morph right into a portion of Copeland's Hoedown. Some of you may know that. You'll notice a little theme here. And then we're going to go right into an arrangement of Orange Blossom Special. We have an amazing sophomore violinist named Rashawn Bryant, who's going to be playing this part, and I'd love to showcase him. Then we're going to move right into the Ashokan Farewell. Some of you may know this from the PBS special, The Civil War. I think back in the 90s when this was produced. If you don't know it, the name, you will definitely know the piece when you hear it. It's a gorgeous piece of music, featuring senior violinist Tejas Gururaja on violin, senior Ashna Korea on piano, sophomore Eric Liang on violin, senior Shreya Kulkarni on viola, senior Kara Keeper on cello, and senior Ella Gerber on bass, doing some solos throughout here. We're really trying to showcase the incredible talent that our community has by not only doing large group selections, but individual things within there as well. We will conclude with something my wife really loves and really asked me to put into the show, and the organizers asked when they saw the preview, our audition tape they said, I really love that one tune that you guys did where they're all standing and moving around. I go, oh, yep, that's called Irish Legend. And yeah, we can put that in there. It is a showstopper, and they will absolutely love this. So that'll be featuring senior Michael Lemos on violin, senior Rishi Ajoy Kumar on violin, senior Tejas Kuvaraja on piano, and junior Emily Greiner on the drum set, as well as all the students performing and in a wonderful Irish line at the end. It's filled with a ton of energy, and we have to do all that in 15 minutes or less.
I was just going to say, that's a lot in 15 minutes.
I don't know how yet, but we're working on that. We will be doing, you'll probably see very little of us speaking. It's something that the organizers are actually asking us right now on an email. We're not sure how much, but we need to maximize our student time and the performance time on there. And every piece is selected to reach out to the audience, to your colleagues. This is built on also some great energy for the opening ceremonies of this and right before the keynote on that. And after that,
Yep.
Stav's going to tell you.
We are always, whenever we're given an opportunity like this, we always look to maximize student learning opportunities to go along with that. We ask the event organizers, hey, you've told us a lot about your keynote. It sounds like a wonderful opportunity. Can our students sit in and take part and listen to the keynote address? And they will have a table set up for our students, or several tables, because we're taking quite a few, a little over 50. So that they'll be able to watch the keynote and be able to participate in that opening ceremony, which we're very excited about. And then afterwards, since we're in Des Moines, we'll head over to the Capitol and take a tour of the Capitol grounds and the Capitol building, and just maximize our time while we're down there, not only for the music, but also just for general leadership, learning opportunities, and civic learning opportunities as well. We will be giving a preview concert of this on Thursday, November 10th at 7 p.m. that we would like to formally invite you to. This will be in conjunction with our 5th graders who are going to be giving their first concert. The 5th graders will be performing, and then our symphony orchestra will perform after they are done with their portion of the concert. So we'd like to just formally invite you. If you're able to come, we'd love to have you there, and you'll get a sort of a sneak peek of what we will be doing down in Des Moines. Again, just reiterating, we are really, really appreciative of Mr. Bisgard asking us to submit this tape and then being selected. This is a wonderful opportunity. This will be one of the larger audiences that our symphony orchestra will get to perform for. It's not the largest audience that would be commencement, something we do talk to them about, and just a wonderful opportunity for this. And just to let you guys know, we've got amazing musicians here. Marching band was here earlier, that we just think very highly of our students, and we can't wait to showcase them for you guys.
And to get them excited and understand what they were performing for. On the very first day of school, we've invited Mr. Bisgard to come in and break the news to them about what they were doing. And so his first day of school is a lot of, excitement and a lot of things happening. All of a sudden, the boss's boss was in the room. And wondered, what's this? And so explained it to them. We have a special announcement and we would like to have him break the news to you. And that was a lot of fun. And we appreciate that because that put a very serious spin on that, and they knew, oh, this is kind of a big deal. And they won't really know how big of a deal it is until they actually see it. So, do you have any questions for us?
I don't have a question. I'll just say that I knew when we submitted, I knew if they saw our kids that we'd get picked, and I was so happy when that email came through. So I'm so proud of our students, and I can't wait for everybody else to get to hear how wonderful they are. So.
That was the least surprising email I've had. We got accepted, of course. So.
My question is, who will be responsible for live streaming it in Korea? I cannot miss this. So somebody's going to need to be my person. So
We'll
be
get it
thinking
figured out.
about who will be on FaceTime with me.
We'll get to see some of it on the 10th.
I won't be
She
gone by
leaves on the
then.
3rd.
What did they say? They do tell you if you weren't over on that's right. Do they hook you? or
Killing
do
me. Like, these are my favorite things.
The organizer is new, and so there was a level of anxiety when I was speaking to them. And I said, we could easily take up 30 minutes and put on a great show. And actually, that's language we use with our kids.
You can cut something else out. I mean,
Yeah. These are incredible students, and they're putting on a whole different show on Thursday night this week of some very high-level literature, and it has nothing to do with this, and we have to turn around and produce this literature in 2 weeks. It's well planned, so they'll be fine. But they were excited. It was a fun conversation to go from 14 to 15 minutes. They also have other sort of parameters. We have only so much stage space. And musicians take up a lot of room. Cellos take up a lot of room. Basses and string players take up actually a lot of physical room. We have 18 feet by 24 feet, and we had to negotiate that. But we worked with somebody there in meetings, and we know our parameters, and we're going to follow them. We're going to market it in our room. We're going to market it on our stage. The kids know it's coming, and they're so easy to work with and flexible. They don't fret about that. So if we ask a bass player to stand here because of, they're like, sure, no problem. But we have various parameters that we have to follow because it's their show, and we're trying to tell the kids we're serving them. We're serving this conference, and that's our role with this. And it has a mission. It needs to get everybody excited, not only for the conference but also the keynote. So the music is not selected for the students; it's actually selected for the audience. And I learned a new phrase today. What was it? Fan phrase?
Oh, fan serve. It's there to serve the audience and get them excited, so, yeah.
No, that's the whole point. And because most of the time when we select literature, it's the primary audience is the students. Secondary is mom and dad. This is reversed. So, and they have to understand that. It's part of the gig. It's part of the show. And they get it. And they're excited to do it.
I tell you, I'm greatly amused knowing how much, like how big ISB is and all the planning and that you're negotiating with them. I think that's fabulous. That's hilarious to me.
Got 60
So.
seconds, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And you said the preview was on November 10th at what time? 7?
7
I'll put that information in the memo for
Okay.
details.
Okay,
Reminder
thank
for
you.
guys as
Thank
well.
you.
So-
Yeah, the 5th grade will be performing on that night, and since we already had the stage, and it was 1 week before, it just sort of lined up beautifully. We contacted our colleagues to ask their permission, do you mind if we join you in your concert? And of course, they're like, absolutely. And then it's an opportunity, as the teacher and us, for our our newest members of our orchestra family to see and hear the top level group, the varsity level group, on the same performance. So
we got to see a young group at Boulder Peak this week perform for us in your
That's great.
Yeah, it was a small group, but they did it on their time, which was nice.
Yeah, they chose to come.
Yeah.
And they had 3 or 4 different activities, and that's what they chose to
fantastic.
do.
That's
It was awesome. So,
that's great.
yeah.
Thank you guys. We're very excited
you.
to see what you
Yeah,
put together.
thank you so very much.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Any other comments about ISB? We'll get you figured out. All right, moving on to our board visit at Boulder Peak. Barry kind of already kicked it off. So.
It was a great visit. So
Yeah.
it's fun to watch the kids and listen to the kids and how excited they are to show you around. And it goes back to both schools, both of the 5th, 6th grade schools, the independence that the kids get. It's just intriguing to me how they do it. And of course, serving lunch was a blast.
Well, and they were just like when we were at Hazel Point. They were so excited, and it was cute. A couple times in the library when we were getting explanations with my group, the assistant principal started to talk, and one of the students said, "Can I give this information?" Okay. It just kind of took over and started talking. And it was just great. They were so confident, and they loved what they did, and a couple of them, it was just hard for them not to tell you everything they knew, I think is a good way to put it. We've all had students like that before if you're a teacher, and it was awesome. So, good job.
I'll just echo what Barry and Sandra said. It's very interesting to see the kids sort of rise to the occasion whenever they're given the opportunity. And it was interesting having gone to Hazel Point last and then Boulder Peak and seeing those kind of back to back and seeing the differences and the similarities. But, you know, both buildings just being, you know, run beautifully, and everybody seems to be happy as a clam over there. So had a great time.
I thought it was, yeah, just like everybody else, I thought it was great. The unique thing about it is we got to actually hear the kids sing, and when they were given a choice on what to sing, they all raised their hands. They were all, you know, doing this and that, and they were happy to sing for us. But they're also in a lot of other areas. They're not just in vocal, they might be in band, they might be someplace else. And the nice thing about what they did on both buildings is it gives the students an independence to choose that free time, what they want to do. And it's not like they always go to one part, but whatever they feel they can go to. They're completely familiar with the time change and when you have to go back to class and stuff like that. But the variety that they have is unbelievable in what they can do. They can earn extra points in the library by reading certain books and doing some math things, that they get to see these exotic animals and stuff like that. And there's stuff built in that is always there to do. Things that they even had an after school, you know, here's all these yoga mats. And they have yoga, but that's after school, and the parents come and pick them up. But they offer this to the students, and it's very well received. I was so impressed with the students that were in my group. I mean, they were attentive. It was just like clockwork. They were very confident in how they spoke and where we were going. They made sure that everybody in the group got to talk somewhere along the line. I just really didn't expect that kind of fluidity coming out of a sixth grader's mouth in different areas, and how, like Barry said, how confident they were. And that just kind of blew me away. And they were just, it was a tremendous experience. And how much they really liked doing a variety of different things and getting involved and have access to do those things, I think is really, really important for our students.
I'd say, again, to echo what everyone said, not to rehash all of that, but I think it's easy to see why our fine arts at Linn-Mar are top-notch. The way the students are excited, and the teachers are doing a phenomenal job at keeping them excited and engaged. So it was fun to see all of that. And again, seeing both of the two intermediate schools and how much they are the same but their own was really neat to see as well. And we all looked really great in our hairnets.
I was waiting for somebody to say that.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you for being good sports and wanting to do that day when you were not expecting that when you showed up.
That was fun.
Two things that stuck out to me. One, we had the opportunity to watch a student receiving an individual music lesson. She was learning the bassoon, and she was willing to play for us. And that in and of itself, I think, when I was receiving music lessons as a sixth grader, there's no way that I would have been brave enough to play in front of the school board. I would have just felt really intimidated by that, by any adults. Not that the school board is anything, but I would have just felt very nervous, and she was just so calm. She's like, okay, well, I'm going to show you how to play the bassoon. And she just had so much fun with it, and the confidence that they're instilling in these young people was really cool to see. And they're doing some special stuff in that library. The 3 kids that were in our group and leading this could not stop talking about how amazing that library is and how much fun it is to go to the library. And everyone in the school loves the library. And did you know that you can do this in the library and that in the library? And anytime that you have free time, you can come to the library. Did you know that you can come here anytime you want? And like, they just had so much fun things to say about how great their library was and how wonderful the librarians are and how nice she is, and you can talk to her about anything. And like, it was just really, really neat to see their enthusiasm over reading and over all of the different things that they have to offer there, and that they clearly have great relationships with the people that are working within that department, and that it's not just a place to go check out a book, but it's truly a place where they are experiencing belonging, and that's become one of their second homes. And so I really appreciated that.
I'll just sum up by saying we also got a personal lesson. It was a young man who I think they said he was on his 5th or 6th lesson ever on the flute. And I would have been the same way. When I was learning trumpet, I didn't want anybody watching me. So I commend those students for that bravery. And I think the only thing I'll mention that hasn't been taught or talked about is we got to visit the STEM room and kind of see the learning in, you know, programming robots and building apps and just all of that computer stuff that I know exists, but I don't know how it works. But we're watching these 5th and 6th graders, or 6th graders, you know, program apps and make their tablets do things, and then programming chips to put in robots. And then I was amazed that program is going as well as it is, and very excited that they're going to introduce the 5th graders to it at the end of the year. So I think great things are happening in our buildings. We know that, and it was great to see it. So next up, some of us were able to go to the Marion Chamber of Commerce luncheon annual meeting last week. Barry or Sandra, do you want to share?
It was a good session. It's always nice to hear what's happening in the community, the excitement, and the economic lady that spoke. I think it was economics is what she talked about. I thought she did a tremendous job.
It was interesting. It's always a great opportunity to highlight what Marion has to offer and why we should be excited that Linn-Mar is part of Marion and Cedar Rapids also. But it was fun to see what was happening and what's coming up, and they were viewing it and telling us successes and planning for the future. So very cool.
I'll just say that anytime you can go to a meeting and hear a statewide representative say that when someone asks what they should be doing in a city, she says, go look at Marion, they've got it figured out. That just makes me glad that I live here and that we're part of something that's really special. So, Rachel, anything of note in the Marion City Council meeting on the 20th?
Well, lots of liquor licenses and and also a few developments. One west of Winslow and south of Tower Terrace. That public hearing was set for that. One east of Lucor and south of Royal Oak Ridge, and I'm not exactly sure where that is, but that was for a survey to be done for that plat. And then north of 29th and east of 35th, that was for a final plat. So it's interesting because this is a lot of development by Indian Creek area, and for a long time we were seeing so much of it out by, like, off Albernet Road, and now we're seeing a lot more of it kind of by Indian Creek, Lynn Grove area. So anyway, that's what I got for you.
It's interesting, 'cause that's about the 4th or 5th report,
Yeah.
I feel like, in a row, where that same neighborhood, the Boulder Peak
Yes.
neighborhood, or a little bit expanded from there, has had either immediate approvals or things pending there,
Yep.
it seems like. So
Well, it's just
it's
always
interesting.
some good information to keep in our back
Seen a
pocket
trend.
when we
We need
someday have that conversation.
So we need
about
to keep an
Mayflower
eye
too.
on what that does to Lynn Grove and or Indian Creek, right?
Lynn Grove, Indian Creek, and Boulder Peak, all three will have a direct impact with all the recent updates we've had from City Council. But it's interesting because it's been several months since either Matt or Barry gave an update a while ago, but we haven't seen anything break ground yet on the sites that I'm aware of. But I have a feeling once they start, there could be several happening right away.
Yep, and one getting ready to start, it looks like.
The thing is, we still have some space in those buildings that can absorb it, but we'll definitely want to keep an eye on it.
Of 29th there, the big open fields that were there now have roads going through most of them, so houses will come.
Sure, every time I go up 35th towards County Home, like there's less and less field and
Yeah.
more and more
Yep.
houses. So
That's true.
there used to be a lot more open space.
It's getting more and more busy, Sandra.
Yes, it is.
Well, I will just add on that every once in a while we talk about the Towby Park parking lot and the Wilkins parking situation. There is a beautiful paved trail that now connects the parking lot all the way to the blacktop of the playground, and there is a beautiful parking lot. All the edges aren't done yet, but it is paved. It smelled awful when I picked Arthur up last week, but it looks very, very nice. So.
And they're hoping to take the pressure off the front of the building, right?
Yes.
So more and more parents can drop their kids off there. Okay.
No, I like being, it's easy right now.
Just ignore that.
Never
No, I know
mind.
staff are hoping to be able to park back there and then walk the trail to the school. And yes, I'm sure more parents will pick up their kids. But right now it is very nice and very easy to do. So I'll just turn it over to Shannon.
I have quite a few things to update for you tonight. Strategic planning update, first and foremost. We're, as everybody knows, in the middle of that data gathering phase. The survey has been sent to parents, staff, students, community. That window is now closed as of Friday night. We ended up having a really nice response rate, I feel like, to the survey. 3,636 responses. Now, 2,255 of those are students. So that's a big chunk of them, but we have a nice student response. We had 897 parents, 292 staff members, 85 community, and 107 checked other. So all that should add up, 107. So I'll put these numbers in the Friday memo for you, so you have the specifics there as well. But I feel like it's a really nice representation across all avenues. And obviously some people, everybody had to pick one or the other, so I'm sure some of our parents fall under community and staff as well, so several are probably double dipping there as well. So, so anxious to see what those results look like when our consultant gets those information compiled for us. And then, so I want to thank everybody for completing the survey, those that did, all 3,636 individuals. That's a fantastic response. We've had 2 of our 3 community conversations since the last time we met, October 11th and October 17th. We had a relatively small turnout at Novak on the 11th, but on October 17th we saw quite a few more people show up. We got some great feedback from both of those groups. And then October 26th is our last one coming up at Boulder Peak. And that's at 6 o'clock, and I believe Rachel and Sandra, our 2 board members representing them, well, Britt goes to all of them. She's lucky that way. So for our 3rd session, and just a reminder for everybody that these are repeat sessions. So there's no need to go to multiple ones unless you want to listen, but as just a chance for everybody to hear. It's the exact same activity, same process. So, so we're anxious to see our 3rd and final community conversation data gathering time as well. And then next steps from board meeting wise, so after the 26th, Collective Clarity will take all of that information, and they already have the survey data. They will start to compile that, start to analyze that, and then our November work session be a chance for the board to start to dig into that data. I think we have work sessions scheduled for November and December both, where we'll be committing to that data information as well. So it's a lot of data, but they said they can get it all pulled together pretty quickly by our next work session. So that'll be a fun next step of the process to kind of transition from data gathering to what does this mean for us and where do we go with it. At your tables, I also gave you kind of one of my goals this year, as you're aware of, is our Standard 9 operations and management, facility planning specifically for the goal area. So try to give you an update throughout the year this year, so we're saving everything to the end. So that's kind of where we stand facility planning wise. I feel like we've kept you pretty up to date with this throughout the year, so nothing real new on there for you. All projects are tracking on schedule as what we had planned as of this summer. But we are hitting kind of the unique time period or interesting time period now with several of the projects, because now they're going to start to talk more money related. 2 of the projects, the high school parking lot and tennis courts, hopefully have beds back here relatively soon. And then the other 2 projects, we meet with OPM next week to talk more financial and design updates from everything too. And those 2 projects are the admin building and auditorium. So So after next week, we should have more information to provide for you there as well. So, but I wanted to give you that update as far as things kind of big picture, since there's been a few board meetings since we have had a facility focus. America Reads was held on Friday. It's a tradition in Linn-Mar for years and years and years. Had to put it on pause for a couple of years. It was so nice to get back in the buildings again in person. Crossed paths with a couple of you that day as we were making the circuit. Seemed like it went really well in all the buildings. I was in 3 buildings and 7 classrooms as a reader. Kids did a fabulous job. Teachers, it was just had a great vibe throughout the day. And a big thanks to our volunteers to coordinate that and to get that back in person again. Just a really fun day on Friday to celebrate reading and have lots and lots of community folks in our buildings. Again, was fun. Starting to wrap up our fall seasons. You'll hear from some of our fall sports at the next board meeting as we look to recognize some of those individuals and teams. Just a real quick summary as they start to wrap up their regular seasons and then head into postseason. Football finished the regular season 6-3 last Friday. They've qualified for state and they get to go to Prairie on Friday night, which is exactly where they were last Friday night. So it's same thing all over again, which is interesting. Girls swimming finished 3rd in the conference this weekend. So congratulations to them. And they are now starting to prepare for their postseason, which will start a little bit later than some of the other fall sports. Cross country, girls qualified for state meet last week, so congratulations to the team. And then boys, congratulations to Luke Steffen, who qualified as an individual. So they will all run this Saturday at Fort Dodge, and weather looks to be really nice for that. So congratulations to those individuals. And then volleyball lost a really tough competitive match in their qualifying tournament this past week as well. So fall sports are crazy. It feels like we're already starting to wrap these up, which doesn't seem that's possible, but we are. And then kind of along that athletic theme, just want to recognize Tanya Moe. She was named as 2022-23 Northeast Iowa High School Athletic Director of the Year. So great recognition for her. She's nominated by her colleagues in the area and was selected for that honor. She will now be, I think, one of 5 finalists for that award in the state of Iowa as well then too. So hopefully, can't imagine anybody doing better than Tanya with that, but we'll see how those results turn out for her, I think, in December. So congratulations to Tanya, and kind of a fun celebration for us as well. So there's quite a few things. Any questions you have for me on any of those, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
Just 2 quick questions, Shannon. First of all, a lot of questions around the new parking lot at Excelsior. How's that experience going? Is the traffic pattern better now?
Yeah, great question. It's interesting time because I drove by it again today just to see after several weeks of the school year, how is it going? And I think the staff at Excelsior tell you the same thing. It's made a night and day difference. The traffic flow, parents are probably the best group to ask with that, but just keeping our cars and our buses separate, first of all, has made a huge difference from a safety angle and just a traffic flow angle. And then the backup in that building is so much better than it ever has been. And I actually checked our other buildings, intermediate middle school buildings today too, and with the roundabout out at Elburnett and Echo, I was curious how that would play out over time, and so far that seems to be working well.
Is that completely finished now? Are we live?
It's fully operational. There's still some groundwork they're doing around the roundabout, but it doesn't impact the traffic flow. So.
And then I've had a number of questions last fall more so, or last spring more so than this fall, about Westfield. There's been some challenges there and they've opened up the gate, et cetera. Is that working out pretty good? Or, some of the neighborhood, needless to say, they get excited because there's going to be more cars coming in.
I think it depends who you ask on that one. I think from a school and a police perspective, I think they feel it's working very well. For some of the individuals in the neighborhood, I would think they would say otherwise. Just because it does create more cars through one of the neighborhoods to get into the school. But really from a police perspective, we didn't have any other choice.
We had to get it off.
They were saying parents could not be parking on the main road right outside of Westfield. Right. It's creating a safety hazard there as well too. So we really did not have any other alternative.
We'll be visiting there in a few weeks, I think, just to ask her how she feels.
Yeah, I think we're at Wilkins this Thursday and Westfield's our next visit after that one too.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Any other questions for Shannon? All right, we will move on to unfinished business.
Make a motion to approve the substantial completion of the high school tuck pointing project and issue final payment of $50,410 to Technical Specialties.
Motion by Rachel and a second by Sandra. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
To approve the substantial completion of the Indian Creek Fire Alarm Upgrade Project and issue final payment of $48,638 to High Tech Communications.
Second.
Motion by Barry and a second by Clark. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to approve substantial completion of Echo Hill and Novak Elementary roof improvement projects and issue final payment of $44,146.85 to Modern Builders.
Second. Motion by Melissa and a second by Sandra. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to new business, I'm going to let Sandra, I'm going to let Shannon lead us in a discussion on early separation.
Sandra can if you'd like to, so.
I mistakenly said your name because it starts with an S instead of Shannon.
I see. Shannon, you go for
Okay,
it.
I'll take this turn. So, as we talked, I think it was 2 board meetings ago, maybe 3, early separation. At that time of the year, as we started to make that decision whether to offer it or not as a district, we just didn't have enough information or data at that time yet. So we did send out information to all of our staff that are eligible for early separation this year to kind of get a sense of how many people we're talking about to help us make that decision one way or the other. We heard back from those individuals, had to get back to us by October 12th. We had 23 people officially apply for early separation this year. I will remind you that applying does not mean that they are going to be committed to that. They have until January 12th. They can still pull their name out at that time and continue working with us if they choose to do so. You cannot add in additional names after the October 12th deadline, though. So 23 is our max number of requests. The requests came from a pretty good balance across the district at all levels, which we were glad to see. It wasn't all congregated at one building or one department and create some potential problems for us that way. So it's good data for us to have. And as Dave and I have started to look at budget and planning for next year, when I say Dave and I mostly mean Dave, we start to look at things, the cost savings opportunity that's there is substantial. I'll give you a rough estimate. I can't give you exact numbers because we don't know who we'll be hiring for these positions to replace. But if we would look at the average of the 23 staff that has applied for early separation, and if we hired a replacement for each of those at exactly MA Step 10, we'd be looking at just over a $30,000 savings per position. So obviously, if we hire somebody at BA Step 1, the savings would be more. If we hire somebody at MA Step more than 10, then the savings would be less. So we picked that as the average number to, just to give you a ballpark of what that impact would be. So it is pretty substantial for that number. We do feel like this is as we talked about last 2 years actually, we've had some funds available to us with ESSER funds. That those funds are going to be gone after this school year. So our thinking all the way along was this would be the year for us to really focus on things like early separation to help us plan budget-wise and to absorb savings where we can. That has not changed. So my recommendation to the board tonight is we would propose to offer up to 15 spots for early separation, and we would look to make the payments of those over the course of 2 years. All of that is up for conversation, discussion with the board as we look at what we think is fiscally responsible and the right thing to do for us right now. I feel like we're in the right spot to be able to offer that. Before I stop giving updates and give you a chance to have conversation question, I'm sure the question will come up about why 15 spots and why 2 years. Those are not arbitrary numbers, but they're not set in stone by any means either. 15 spots is typically what we have budgeted for in the past years, sometimes a little more than that or a little less than that. It's also a number that we feel comfortable budget-wise being able to make happen. And then by doing it over 2 years, it allows us to not have big ups and downs in our management levy rate over the course of the next couple of years as well, and try to balance that out to make sure it gives us a little bit of leeway in budget planning as we go forward too. Those can certainly be adjusted as well, but we thought those are numbers that we felt comfortable with in both of those spots. So with that, I will take any thoughts, questions, conversation you may have.
Couple right off, and you've answered most of them. Disadvantage for me is the loss of wonderful teachers, but I also understand there's a time that, we need to, if this is a good time for us, That's great. Also, I was thinking, how many could be allowed, and can we afford it? You're answering both of those questions for me, that being afforded is a main thing that, you know, I look at. Can we do it as a district and not put ourselves in a bind? Which is, as a board, that's one of the things we have to consider. So, you know, I was excited to hear that. So there's some advantages to the district, and that's what this was set up for. So that seems awesome. So I'm excited, but once again, I know that we would be able to hire some new wonderful teachers too, but it's hard to have people leave us that we care about. So that's all I have to say.
You mentioned the other piece of it that I probably should have mentioned as well. You know, the budget piece is one aspect of it. There's also the aspect of the human resources side of it. So obviously it's not the ideal hiring market for education or anybody in any field right now, it feels like. So we've definitely weighed through the pros and cons of we don't want to lose more people than possible, but we also think by one of the advantages of the early separation is we know on January 12th exactly how many spots we're going to have. It does allow us an early opportunity to begin the hiring process, which we've had great success with, be able to hire not just individuals, but great individuals at that time frame instead of having to wait potentially later in the year. So that January early time spot helps Carla feel a little bit better about the hiring process for us too.
And I feel good about you making the statement that they're not all like from one building, that it's spread out. That, I think that helps us too, so that we keep some key people in all of our buildings to help us move forward.
Right.
Roland?
I have a few questions for you, Shannon. The first is, you mentioned the $30,000 savings. Is that in the first year?
Correct.
For each position?
Yep.
And then each year subsequent, potentially around that same cost estimate of savings?
That's correct.
Okay. And then based on hiring practices and what you've seen in the past year or two, what's your confidence level in being able to hire 15 additional teachers? Do you anticipate that we would be able to hire 15 new teachers next year in addition to any other potential teachers that we would need to hire? Or would you anticipate that we're going to have a shortage above and beyond other shortages across the district that this would present for us?
If our policy said by March 15th or April 15th or later for that determination, I would have hesitation to, my confidence level would be much lower. With a January 12th date is that time period, I'm very confident we'll be able to hire not just individuals, but quality individuals for those positions as well. It's really a race to hire people when the hiring season starts. And by getting an early start in January like this, those positions in recent years and historically we've always been able to fill very successfully. It's the ones that happen late in the school year into summertime that are always problematic and right now are extremely problematic. Now, I say all of that knowing these are unique times as well, so what I say now may look very different a couple months from now, but I do feel confident that January time frame, and talking to our principals, they feel good about that as well, that they'd be able to hire quality people at that time frame. They'd much rather do that hiring then than late in the summer.
I'm totally supportive of the early separation. I think it does a lot of things, and just to kind of build on Melissa a little bit, once teachers out there, because not all districts are going to be able to do what we are capable of doing, okay? And they won't be able to offer this. We can, and I think when that message gets out there to people that are considering changing where they want to teach, coming to Marion, I think it's a good selling point to know that we have this available to them, and that might draw a lot more people in for the places that we have. And I agree 100% on Sandra when she said the distribution of what we may lose with the people that have signed up makes it a lot easier than just out of one or two buildings. That would be devastating, and it's not there. And the thing is a little prejudice because there's some that I haven't seen the list. I asked Shannon, he would not show it to me. He was not allowed to. But it was just one of those things that the people that are on there, they're going to be sorely missed. And I'm not talking about just my experience. And being with them. I'm talking about what the students are going to miss, because I know the quality people of some of the people that are retiring, and it's going to be hard, very hard to replace them. But I think the early separation does help us. One, because financially it's okay for us to do this. I think there was only 1 year that I remember that we offered more. All previous years were 15, and I think the highest number that accepted the early separation was 14. It never got to 15 out of 15. But, it sends a message. We believe in what you're doing. We're trying our very darndest to try to accommodate people that have given so many years to our students. And, with what we've gone through with the derecho, what we've gone through with COVID, hybrid learning, all those things that most of those teachers were not prepared for, and now we have an opportunity to do that, and virtual learning. I just think it's one of those things that I'm happy that our district has done, and Shannon, you and Dave and people doing the right savings and twisting and turning to allow this to happen. And needless to say, I support this.
Thoughts?
Couple more questions. Can you tell me, you mentioned the splitting it over 2 years. Can you explain what that means? I'm a little bit confused on that.
It's the cost.
Cost of it.
The cost that, the
So
money
we
that
give
would
X
be
amount of
given.
money, and we give half of that the first year, and then half of
gotcha.
that
Yeah.
the
To
second year.
employee. Okay,
Right.
okay, thank you. And then my last question, I think, is how does the selection work? So if we had more than 15 people that actually end up applying for it, is it a straight seniority based, or is there
Yeah,
other
seniority.
criteria that, okay.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I
It
think
wouldn't
that's all my
have to be.
questions.
We could have some different ways of looking at it, but we feel like seniority-based is the most logical way to go if there's more. And like Clark
You don't
said,
necessarily have a policy
I don't know
on-
if we would have more than 15 requests even by the time January comes around. But if that does happen, then seniority would be the criteria.
We've got the money to do this. It would be on both sides. I know it comes out of one budget and benefits the other budget, and we've got money on both sides. We need the money in one budget, we've got the money in the other budget, so it makes financial sense for us to do this. Our teachers would benefit from it. It seems to me like it is a wise decision from all three of those standpoints.
A couple comments from me. First of all, this evening, somebody mentioned that this is a retention benefit. And I questioned that for a couple minutes in my mind, but then when you get to thinking about it, we are a school of destination. This is where teachers want to teach. So we do have people coming here from other districts, and I apologize to other districts for losing teachers. So that is a retention benefit. So sincerely, but last year I made the motion to reject the early separation. So this year I'd like to make a motion to accept the early separation if we're ready for that point.
We do want to make sure we have everyone's input. I know Matt and Rachel haven't had a chance.
Go ahead.
I would just like to say, this is certainly all new to me, so listening to the conversation here is a learning experience, and with not having that experience and hearing Sandra and Clark both being educators and their views and Shannon's recommendation, that's the way I'm certainly leaning, because I respect your opinion on something that I certainly am not as versed in as you are. So.
I just would like to say that I too am in favor of this, and we haven't been able to offer it the last couple of years for financial reasons, and I think we do have to look at this first and foremost as a financial decision, but I also gave that comment in the comments some thought, and I definitely think, in addition to it being a retention bonus, if if teachers are looking at coming to Linn-Mar, and maybe they think, well, I'm not going to get that, perhaps they may not be willing to jump ship and come over with us, but knowing that we do try to prioritize this and do this as long as we can, as long as it makes sense fiscally, I am happy that we're seeing this on the agenda again, and that we are in a different position this year than we've been the last couple.
I'll just end with, last year was a really hard discussion, and when it came down to it, you know, we had to pick between raising taxes and offering early separation, and we had promised our taxpayers that we wouldn't do that. We were working to lower that. And the derecho just made it impossible with insurance premiums to do both things. So the fact that we're a year later and our management fund is stronger and we're able to do that, I highly support Shannon's recommendation. So Barry, go ahead.
Move to approve the offering of early separation to eligible certified staff members.
Second. How about that?
All at once.
Pick one.
This might be the first time I miss making motions over here. So I have a motion by Barry. I'm going to give the second to Clark, but it was basically everyone. Do we have any further discussion on this motion? All those in favor of offering early separation?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Can I ask a question really quick, just procedurally on that? So we didn't say in the motion the number of packages. Did we need to do that, or no?
No.
No, okay.
No.
Okay.
Policy, right, Shannon? Yes.
Number of packages is not, because we always come back and revisit that again as well.
Okay.
I mean, I can do that but.
I just wanted to make sure.
Probably wouldn't hurt to have the number in the actual
Set a
motion,
maximum.
just to make sure
Okay.
that there's not
Okay, so
any
just
misunderstandings
to
or
add a
Yeah,
confusion.
just make a
15.
motion to amend your motion.
I make a motion to amend my motion.
Second.
Second.
I just want to do the second.
So we
Okay.
have a motion to approve offering early separation to eligible certified staff members up to 15. Motion by Barry, seconded by Melissa.
That was me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You still got the first one. All those opposed? The motion still carries.
Discussion on that one is that Rachel would really like credit for that second.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would.
But yes,
I'd like it noted that all of us.
Rachel was right, though. I agree. If we're
Fully
going to make a
support
motion
it.
and we got the numbers there, it should be
And
those
congratulations to whatever teachers end up taking advantage of that. Well,
Of course, if you, all
earned.
23 of you change your mind by January, we
You're
won't
around for
oppose that
4
either.
years.
That could
Yeah.
happen as well.
You've got seniority, yeah.
So
Well, we've got four
and two.
teachers right here.
next, and I'm very excited too, but let's keep the ball rolling so we can all go home and eat some supper.
I move
Okay.
to approve open enrollment requests as presented.
Second.
A motion by Barry and a second by Rachel. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Rachel and a second by Melissa. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda?
I just have one question on the contract for Marzano. And I don't know if this is just a typo, but it's, let's see, in 3.2, it calls out Exhibit A for $2,000 per school, but then if you go to Exhibit A, it's $2,500 per school. So I don't know if it was a typo or if I'm missing something in that. I just wanted to see if we could get that cleared or need to be cleared up.
I saw that as well, so thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that up.
That's a good catch. I did not notice that.
Yeah, because for each of the schools, it was the 25, or 2,500.
I see where the $2,000 amount is that you're referencing.
In the 3.2 HRS certification.
There it is. Bob, do you have any clarification on that piece as far as which of those numbers is accurate?
I believe the 2,500 is the accurate amount. If we approve
Yeah.
it at the 2,500, then
It's less.
and it's less, then we're okay. But then I would prefer that to approving.
I'm comfortable with that.
Are you
Yeah,
comfortable?
that
Are you all
makes
comfortable with that, Matt?
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you for catching that and clarifying that as well. None of us noticed that as we went through, but yeah, everything else adds up to the 2,500. Just reviewing the total, the sub cost, everything else. So I think that is right, and just a typo on 3.2. But if that is not accurate, we'll be coming back to you next board meeting with a revised version.
Do I need to change my motion?
I don't think so in this case, since we're
No?
No, if
approving
everyone's
it.
comfortable with,
Okay.
with the contract, then
We're good.
we'll move forward.
Sounds good.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, under board communications, it's been mentioned a couple times, we have a visit at Wilkins this Thursday. Our third and final community conversation is Wednesday, so busy week. And then a lot of our committees are going to start kicking up in November, so that'll be exciting to hear what all of you guys talk about. And we've already covered ISB, so I won't do that one again. Anyone want to volunteer for the November 17th City Council meeting? Haven't done one in a while, so I'm happy to do that one if no one wants to jump up and,
Okay.
I'll do that one. I was going to say, Melissa could do it from Korea, but,
We'll see which area they're platting for Boulder Peak and that meeting, so.
all right, I will happily take that one. Does anyone else have anything for board communications? All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 6:46.
A motion by Melissa and a second by Sandra. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 6:46. Have a good night.